Hey, what's going on YouTube? Raj here. I hope all of you are well. Today is the first video in my old school fragrances series. If you haven't checked out the introduction video, which I released last week or a few days ago, check it out. I'll leave the link in the description box. And this is a new series I've started on my channel focusing on fragrances that came out, well, several decades ago, or certainly can be described as old school fragrances. I've got a bunch of samples and decants that I've bought in recently to review in the future. But as I mentioned in that video, I do have some fragrances in my current collection, and also I've had bottles in the past. But one particular fragrance in my collection I wanted to start with from my favorite brand of Guerlain, and this is Vetiver, the eau de toilette. A few years ago, Guerlain changed all the packaging to make it a little bit more uniform, and I like the new design. But it's always cool to have different designs within like one brand, rather than this and Habit Rouge and L'Instant de Guerlain and Heritage all looking the same. But it is nevertheless a nice design, and obviously you can see the greenish, yellowish tinge. I guess it kind of will come out on the camera. So this fragrance, according to Fragrantica, was released in 1961 and then reintroduced in the year 2000. There are quite a lot of notes on the Fragrantica website, and I'm not 100% convinced by all of them. So I'm going to read a different note breakdown that I've seen. In the top notes there is orange, bergamot, and lemon. In the heart notes there is pepper and nutmeg. In the base notes there is vetiver, obviously, tobacco and tonka bean. So when we talk about vetiver, well, first of all, actually, I was going to say when we talk about vetiver fragrances, but let me get into what is vetiver very, very briefly. It is a tall grass that is grown in tropical countries. Guerlain specifically, well, this is what I've seen on Thierry Vass's Instagram page, and what I've read in the past as well, is that Guerlain will use vetiver from India, and they'll also use it from Haiti. So completely different continents there. And yeah, so when we talk about vetiver fragrances, this is often referred to as the reference vetiver, the one that is almost setting the standard, the benchmark for vetiver fragrances. So is that true? Well, I'm going to give you my opinion. So, in terms of the performance of this fragrance, I think it performs really, really well on my skin, or I know it performs very, very well. I don't get like a beast mode projection and longevity, but I get a solid like 8, 9, maybe 10 hours. There are times when it has lasted longer, but it does stay quite close to the skin. The opening hour and a half or hour and 2 hours is definitely quite noticeable with terms of the projection. Is this a masculine fragrance? Well, it is marketed towards men, but I see no reason why a woman couldn't pull this off. I think that it is more likely that men will gravitate towards this scent. I think vetiver, and I also would say cardamom, are two kind of ingredients that I really, really associate with masculine fragrances. But you can do what you want. I think in terms of seasons, I see no reason why you couldn't wear this year round. And ever since I got this bottle, which I actually bought fairly recently, I have been wearing this quite a lot in different weather conditions, in more tropical climates when I've been abroad, to more colder conditions here. And I think, as we're coming into the spring months, I think this fragrance is going to work really, really well. Yeah, I think this has a formality to it, but also it has a nice balance between formality and more casual side. So I think you can definitely pull this off in a working business environment. But yeah, you could wear this to the bar, but also casually as well. There is an incredible amount of versatility with this fragrance, and I think there is a lot of depth in terms of scent, but also like wearability as well. It's just a perfect balance. So what do I get with Guerlain's Vetiver? I'm gonna have to do a fresh spray here. Sprayer is pretty good, no complaints on that side. Just to get that beautiful opening. Okay, Before I actually get into the breakdown of this fragrance, I used to own this one many, many years ago. Probably when I first, or soon after I started my YouTube channel. So I started my channel back in 2012. So I think I must have owned this around that time, 2012, 2013. So at that time, I was I had been into fragrances before I set up the channel, but I was really getting into it like properly, and I was quite new to the whole world of fragrances. I was buying a lot of stuff, and this one maybe just got a little bit lost in the shuffle. I did have the time, but I didn't give enough time to focusing on this one. And eventually, I believe I just sold it, which was kind of like a criminal thinking about it now. So I picked this one back up because I knew that it was a good scent, but I wanted to get it back into my collection. And I'm so glad I have it back because this whole scent is fantastic. The opening, I would say, the opening half an hour or so, you need to give this fragrance time to settle. This smokiness from the vetiver, which is a tall grass, and they extract the scent from the root of the grass, comes across as like a hint of like a ginger, that fresh, spicy quality with the smokiness. And honestly, I think for a lot of people, you may be a little bit put off. I know many people, when I've read reviews and when I've watched reviews, they actually love the opening. It's not my favorite part of the fragrance, and I can see why maybe there will be some people who think it's just a little bit too much, because vetiver, can have that smoky green side to it. Once you let that settle, you are in for an absolute treat. This is really, really, it's like an immersive experience. It's very natural smelling, but it's really balanced. It doesn't go too smoky, it doesn't go too fresh, where then you lose the qualities of what a vetiver really brings to the table. It just hits that sweet spot and really, really balances it out. You get a kind of a lemoniness, a zestiness in there, but I don't really think the citrus is that noticeable. It's this wonderful, sweet grass, which is so pure. It's almost like you can feel the vetiver oil on your skin. You really do get this imagery, or I do get this imagery of being in a field and almost like just collapsing into these lush, green, grassy, rooty vetiver grass, like a field of vetiver. You do really feel like you are just sleeping in a field of vetiver. It's fantastic. It really is. Later on, as the fragrance develops, and I've done a fresh spray here, but I have done about half an hour ago. Here you really start. This is where the magic happens, because you get a sprinkling of tobacco here, and it's quite like it has like an aromatic feel to it. There's a herbal, aromatic, zesty, grassy, gingery accord in here, with a spicy touch as well, which is, I think, coming from the vetiver, coming from the tobacco, but the nutmeg with a just a little bit of grated nutmeg on top of this vetiver adds a great touch and adds a nice element of a depth into this fragrance, which really, it just works so well. It works so well. This is a compliment getting fragrance. It's one of those where I think if you dress up, if you have a certain charisma, if you have a certain confidence, you can really, really make things happen with this fragrance. You know what I mean? Like, if you can just pull this scent off and stride into a room with confidence, and not necessarily be like a loud guy, but just like a subtle, understated guy with an elegant fragrance, with a nice, well put together outfit. That's really where I see this fragrance working perfectly. Going back to the scent, it's calming. It's almost like meditative in some ways, which might be taking things a little bit too far. But the fragrance, it does that. It does have that. It does have that effect on me. So overall, I have to say Guerlain Vetiver is, while it may not be one of my favorite fragrances in the world, even though I have been gushing and saying really, really good things about this one, I feel like I've tried better fragrances, but I don't want to take anything away from this. I still think this is an excellent fragrance, and I have to give it a rating of 9 out of 10, quite high, and I think it's deserved. What more is there to say? Apart from over to you guys. Also there is an extreme version of this. I've never tried it. Have you tried it? Where does this rank amongst vetiver fragrances out there? Do you believe that this is a reference vetiver and it deserves that title? Or what are some other alternatives that you think maybe take the vetiver genre or accord or note and just do a better job? I'll be interested to hear from you whether you like this fragrance or not. Thanks for watching, guys, and that's the first video in my old school fragrance series. There will be many more videos to come, and if you like the content, hit a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also check me out on Instagram, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.